DevOps, Key Industry Trends and Challenges. I am John O'Correll. I'll a little more on myself in a moment from Orbia, which is an Accenture company, and I head the Agile practice. So we got a lot to cover in 20 minutes, so forgive me if I talk really fast, but we'll try to cover as much of this for you guys as we can. Okay? So let's go in here. Basic introduction, which will be to me. We'll talk about what I call the waves of Agile. We call it waves of Agile. And we will talk about team level agility, Scrum, Kanban, enterprise Agile, Agile scaling, which is the next wave, business agility, which is the fourth, which is digital innovation, including blockchain. And then we will finish out by connecting everything together with DevOps. Okay, so we're going to go through this and see how we do. I guess I'm not going to get any sound dampening, so hopefully my voice is loud enough. All right, let's go to it. I've been in the space of Agile about 12 years. I've led 3 Agile practices, including the current one. Started my career at Accenture. I'm back. They call that Boomerang, I think. My company's become part of Accenture again. I am a certified trainer for Scaled Agile, for IC Agile, certified by Scrum Alliance. The largest Agile engagement I ever did was for Disney. About 500 plus people, $1 billion program, relaunching Walt Disney World in Orlando and their resorts. We're in California, Orlando. We had about 500 plus people using Agile around the world. And I am certified, of course, and certified, and also do things for Skills Future and other Singapore government initiatives here in Singapore, where I am based. I am from California. You can probably tell from my accent. So, at any rate, I am a computer science undergrad and JD MBA in my education background. Let's take a look at these waves of Agile. So this is not the animated slide, but basically what you see here, the first wave is really the Scrum and Kanban, right? So the idea here is that you've got single teams, you've got maybe 2, you've got teams, maybe a couple of teams with 5, 7, 10 people on them. That's the first wave. For the most part, that is kind of done. And that is not something new to anybody, I'm sure, in this room. This is not new stuff. DevOps, by the way, plays all the way across all these waves, right? All the automation, all the fast integration, things you see at Netflix, things you see at Amazon, they play across every wave, okay? So that's very key to keep in mind. All right, second wave, Agile at scale. We do a lot in this space now. We do a lot of certification on Scaled Agile. Organizations want to know how to go from 5 or 10 people to hundreds of people using Agile, right? They want to know, how do you do that? So that is the wave that is really very big, or dare I say, very hot right now. Okay, so that is very key. Third wave is business agility. This is really just starting out, especially here in Asia. This is not just IT. This is how do I use Agile methods in finance? How do I use it in leadership? How do I use it for marketing? How do I use it for operations, right? This is not IT focused only. So now this is what we call the third wave. The fourth wave is really digital innovation. Digital innovation, we're really talking about the idea here that, okay, we've got AI, we've got blockchain, which we'll talk about later. We've got big data, we've got robotics, we've got whatever it is, cloud, you name it, right? We've got to adapt to these technologies really fast, almost whatever business you're in. You better learn how to use these things. And so the reason for all of this agility, all these waves of Agile, this screen is just like flashing like crazy. Anyway, the reason for all these waves of Agile is because we want to be able to adapt to that, right? It's not just so you can stand around in tennis shoes and a t-shirt and go, hey, we're having stand-ups. That's not the point, right? The point is not to have a bunch of snazzy DevOps tools. The point is to adapt really fast to all these changes in the landscape of digital innovation, which every business and even the governments have to deal with. So there's really no escaping that, okay? So let's go through the waves. Wave 1, team level Agile. Like we talked about, we got our Scrum, right? We got our Kanban board there. We got our development, DevOps, which, like I said, it spans every wave. Almost anybody who wants to scale this to an organization, they need a good DevOps capability. Okay? Because at scale, it becomes much more important than it does in a single team or 2 teams. And then you can see here, this is Scrum XP, so you might be familiar with that. And the predecessor, actually, DevOps, XP, and Agile engineering practices. So these are wave 1. Okay? A little more on wave 1 here. On the other side, sorry. So a little more on wave 1, right? What you're going to see here is we talk about some of the benefits of Agile. You can see Scrum overwhelmingly is, and this is from the version 1 CollabNet State of Agile survey they have every year. I really like this as a source of information. Okay, you can see here that Scrum is like 2/3 of the pie, because that's Scrum hybrid. I think that's also a hybrid with Scrum. That's Scrum Bond. Scrum makes up more than 2/3 of team level Agile, basically. Okay, so obviously you see a lot of Scrum masters like, oh, it's all about Scrum. It's not only Scrum, but Obviously, that's a big piece. Okay? Let's go on to wave 2. Like I said, wave 1, not new. Okay? Definitely not new. If you haven't started that, you probably should, but it's not new. Okay? Wave 2, enterprise agile scaling. So now, this is definitely building a lot of momentum. I'm from the US, as I said. There's a lot of this happening. US government, everybody's using this very heavily. We've been introducing it. I'm operating here in Singapore based, and we've been introducing it on classes publicly. There's a lot of this activity. People really are trying to figure out this is what we call large scale. So it's a scaled agile framework. There's a lot of other methods in this space, but this is definitely the leading one. This is basically kind of the scrum of large scale enterprise agile in this world. Okay, so this is enterprise agile. What do you see here? You see budgets, you see product vision, you see how do we incorporate DevOps, you see incorporating Scrum and Kanban teams, the enterprise, you see portfolio. I'm not going to try to go through all this, but the certification class, you will know about it, but there's a lot that's incorporated because Scrum doesn't cover all this. Okay? This is another method that people like to use in enterprise. This is called the Spotify method. By show of hands, how many of you have heard of the Spotify method before? 2, 3, 4, 5. How many of you have ever used it before? Never. Okay. All right, this is a very popular one. Consultants love this, okay? Everybody loves the Spotify method. I want to tell you the Spotify method was never designed to be a commercial framework. It was designed for one company to use it in their own company, okay? So a lot of people come in, oh, we're using Spotify, we're using Spotify method, wonderful, but you better have some really experienced people who know how to use this. Because if you don't, you might run into trouble. This is not a commercial framework, okay? Scaled Agile is a commercial framework with guidance, etc., certifications. This is not. It can be used effectively like it was used at ING Bank in Netherlands. I think ANZ has been using this a little bit in Australia. I think also SCB Bank in Thailand trying to use this for organizational agility. But the bottom line is you're going to really have to figure this out on your own. So this is something that's used a lot in enterprise agile circles, right? Large scale and even going to business agility resort expert. Okay, so you can see here, as I told you, 30% or more of the scaling agile is using scaled agile framework at this point. And that's not to mention that we got, not that don't know, but we have the category of people who are over here, I think it's 15%, who have a custom approach. And a lot of those actually based on scaled agile framework as well. So I'll go and I'll talk to them, they go, oh, we're using our own custom approach. We're using release trainings, and we're using this, and that's just scaled agile. So they're actually using scaled agile framework too, but this number is probably quite a bit more than 30%, really. Okay? So you can see the trend that scaling agile, scaled agile is definitely taking a significant lead. We've got other methods like Scrum, Disciplined Agile, less, they're much simpler. Okay? And there's actually a reason for that, which I can talk to you about later. Wave 3, business agility. Let's talk about this. So, business agility, we're no longer IT focused here, okay? So this is what the CEO wants to talk about. This is what the COO wants to talk about. This is not the domain or CIO or the chief technology officer, okay? This is where we're taking effect in the whole organization. So here you go, this is from ING Netherlands, right? They use that Spotify approach we talked about. They basically organized, they started in IT and then they reorganized their entire company. You can see their HR and marketing recruiting page here, right? To recruit people, they talk all about their agile way of working the whole way. Why is this? Because they found that this is attractive and it was a better way to work for their whole organization. Now, it wasn't painless because they had everybody come back in who was working there before and they said, hey, do you want to be part of this? If you do, you should come and basically re-interview or whatever it is to see if you want to be involved. And I think, like, I don't want to lie about percentage. I think there were like 20 to 30% of people did not stay because they didn't want to try working in this way. Okay? So not everybody loves it as an organization. Some people just like it in Scrum team. Some people just like it in IT. So this is a big change. This is not, oh, we just got a few people on a Scrum team, let's do a demo for the CEO. We're not talking about that here, okay? This affects the whole organization. Now, there's some other approaches, I will not go into detail. This comes from reinvented organizations. Different organization types, we have red, like power-based leadership. Strongest is the most powerful in the organization, right? Like a gang, basically. You have hierarchy, which is an evolution of what we call amber governance. We have orange, which is most multinational organizations operate as orange, meritocracy, characteristics, all that good stuff. Perform well, you get a bonus. Don't perform well, you're out of here. You know how orange works, okay? Green is more of the agile organization, more like a family is the idea behind the organization. And teal is like the bleeding edge. Teal is the kind of organization where we are talking about that it's more about, basically helping people to reach their highest level of leadership. It's an organization, it's an organism. So these are different types of organizations. This is organizational agility. We're not talking about team level anymore, okay? And then here you got modern Agile, which I like a lot. Make people awesome, deliver value continuously, make safety prerequisite, experiment and learn rapidly. And this is really something that you can apply Agile across the whole organization as well. I've done some executive sessions on this. People seem to like this method quite a bit as well. But the point is, it's not just IT, okay? And here's some charts. So this comes from Business Agility Institute. We are members, as both Borgio and Accenture. Okay? We are members of Business Agility Institute, and they do, we did an executive symposium here, I think last month. Basically, they really go through and they focus on all these areas outside of tech, right? How do we bring this into our customer relationships? How do we bring this to our leadership? How do we do all these other things? So this is a great place. You can check out their survey. I think you can join them for free as well if you want to find their information as an individual member. And you can learn about all the different kind of surveys and information they have on business agility. So I think this is really great. Some of the things you can see here is this correlation in industries in terms of how people are doing in business agility. Key here, it's very new. It's very new for most companies, right? And then we also have, I think, the journey. Very few companies have been on this journey for any number of years. It's only like 1 to 3 years. Very new. This is basically a business agility radar, which is kind of a way that they assess different areas and quadrants of business agility. So if you're interested in that, go check it out at Business Agility Institute. I think it's .org, whatever it is, look them up. And you'll find a lot of interesting information. They do a annual survey of organizations as well. Okay? All right, let's go on to digital innovation and blockchain, which is one of my favorites. Okay, so we're gonna do a little blockchain here. So hopefully I won't get too evangelical on this, but let's talk about it. So obviously everybody's jumping on, everybody's got an opinion. You got your New York Stock Exchange, your BATS, your Bank of America, NASDAQ. You got JP Morgan. Everybody is getting into this game. Obviously Facebook, I'll talk about in a moment, right? So everybody is going into this. Why are they going into it? We'll talk about. Right, lots of voices. You got your Al Gore, and you got Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan who flip flops on this all the time. Right, you got Bill Gates and you got Warren Buffett and Branson who's a big fan, and all of these guys. Right, so everybody has different opinions, different takes. There's Akon, he's using it across Africa. There is a great deal of voices and activity. Probably a little bit confusing for a lot of people who are not very initiated in this space. Let's talk about it a little more. So what are some of the trends? Right. Developing and emerging markets, right? These are really a big place because if you are unbanked, or you're basically like, I think it's what 2/3 of the world that is still basically unbanked. You can't do financial transactions, get credit cards, get business loans. You can't do it. All of a sudden, you have access to financial services you never had before. So big deal, trend there. Fintechs are getting into blockchain, of course. So we can talk about like a Facebook, right? Facebook, if you've ever heard of LibraCoin, we'll talk about this in a moment. They're basically upending the whole financial world, what they're about to do. So a lot happening in that sense. Okay? We got regulatory and other ecosystem players. So there's a lot of people who are, of course, in regulation, different state. I think even the World Bank is now starting to look at this. So you have a lot of players who are looking at, well, how do we look at that trend-wise? University endowments and institutional investors are very interested in what is happening here. They're starting to put their money and their endowment investments into a lot of these assets like Bitcoin and digital assets, right? So I speak at a lot of conferences. Usually you will see in the high net worth conferences, they don't call it cryptocurrency, they call it digital assets. Because it sounds fancy, it sounds good. Bottom line, whatever, that's what they're listening, okay? Consulting, advisory, blockchain, venture capital. So obviously a lot of companies and startups, the trend a couple years ago was ICOs, then it went to security token offerings, we'll talk briefly about that, and then it went to exchange traded offering, basically exchange offerings. So people are finding ways to raise money, and often it's not through direct traditional venture capital. And that's what's happening here, okay? So there's a lot of trend in that space. Blockchain startups, Singapore, US, emerging markets. Singapore really is very good at this actually. Singapore has really created an ecosystem, probably one of the best in the world for organizations that are starting up in this kind of blockchain space. And in fact, one of the experiments I think done by MAS and Accenture, my company, actually was one of the leading in the world in terms of using for interbank type transactions using blockchain. So Singapore's really been pretty strong on this space. Okay? Entrepreneurial ventures in the blockchain space. Of course, a lot of people are looking at this because, like I said, the 2/3 of the world that is unbanked, right? They have a challenge raising capital, raising funds. And they can actually start to raise capital, start to raise funds using these methods. They can get small investments, they can get microfunding, financing, different ways you could never see before. pretty cool company based out of here called Commerce and does trade finance for all of Africa and East Asia using blockchain. Very good stuff. So these are all trends. Okay? You can see here the security token offerings. I will not go through all the details of it, but basically a company digitizes its stock offering. It makes it into a token that can be bought in any market, anywhere. Now the only trick with these security token offerings is they are regulated under a certain market or a certain jurisdiction. And because of that, what that means is that you can't use this token anywhere necessarily because it may not be regulated and considered, to be valid in London, valid in San Francisco, wherever it is. So, but the idea is that you're securitizing, tokenizing a company's stock and making it very liquid and easy to get it out of. Okay, here's another trick. Tokenization of assets. We got real estate in Manhattan, or wherever it is, okay? So you tokenize that real estate, and then I can buy a small piece of token for $25. Maybe I can never buy that Manhattan real estate in total because it costs, well, it's not $50,000, it took $50 million. But I can get the $25 one token, right? And get a tokenized piece of that real estate. Or we can tokenize other things like gold or artwork, right? So there are people doing that now. There's actually one here in Singapore where they take the gold, they will let you come and see it, and then they lock it up, they can store it, and then it's actually unique tokens. So each unique token represents a unique piece of that gold, right? It's not, they're non-fungible. They're not the exchange, you can't exchange every single one. They're unique tokens. Okay, so you get a unique ownership in that gold. Another trend. All right, where are we going? Very likely that we're going to see the next Google, Amazon, Facebook in the blockchain space. And I say this being somebody who came from California. I was there in the dot-com boom, so I guess I'm dating myself, but I was there. Okay. And I know what happened then, which is we had like 99% of those companies that disappeared and they've gone away. You'll never hear of them again. Rooms.com, Bank.com, this.com, whatever. They're all gone, okay? Eat this, eat that. All gone. However, Amazon and Facebook and Google, they have not gone away. They're the most valuable companies in the world. They came out of them. And there's a high likelihood that in the blockchain space, we're going to see the same thing happen again. Okay? In addition, it's likely that blockchain or cryptocurrency or digital assets, if you like, the fancy term, is going to become the money of the internet, money 2.0. Okay? So there is a big space for being able to transfer money borderless very easily. Obviously, regulators have a concern with this, and that's very valid. But also, I can tell you from personal experience, my dad unfortunately had a health problem in the United States. It was very time-consuming to send money from the bank to my sister. It was very easy for me to use cryptocurrency to send it to her in like 5 minutes. So there is a real use case for this. Okay, LibreCoin. So this is the U.S. Lawmakers. They were pressuring the Facebook Libra team. They said, "What are you doing? We don't want you to put this stuff out here. Why are you, doing this? Are you going to stop them?" We're not going to stop. They said, "Hey, are you going to, not put it out? Why don't you look at the test market?" They said, "No, we're not going to go to the test market." Okay, that may say something about the government of my country, but I won't get into it. But the bottom line is that it's clear that this stuff is moving forward. Okay, so what's happening is you're going to have this 25 countries and companies that are partnering with Facebook. They'll be usable by the users of WhatsApp, Instagram, etc. U.S. Fed regulators are concerned about this coin and what it could mean, and the reason is because you have 2.5 billion, 2.7 billion users on Facebook. Okay, if they have a single coin that people start to use for transactions, they will instantly become the world's biggest central bank. So this is the big change. This is not trivial, which is why the lawmakers look so very conservative. All right, let's go on to tying it all back together, how to Agile and DevOps work together. So this is a survey from Forrester, and it shows basically the light green, which is where you have the Agile and DevOps functions together, and the dark green is where you have them separately. You can see in almost every statistic, what happens is when you use Agile and DevOps together, you get greater frequency of delivery, you get better business and IT alignment, you get improved additional quality, faster business value, improved technical quality, okay? So you get all of this, right? And the reason is because DevOps is not a thing by itself. DevOps actually in Agile infrastructure. So if you go, you say, I'm using DevOps tools, forget about Agile, I don't need them. All you get is a 1.5 year long waterfall project, but you can deploy really fast and it lasts long. Does that make any difference, really? You need Agile and DevOps to work together. That's what this is done, okay? This is the way Silicon Valley companies work. Now, if we look here, you can see, I showed you Scaled Agile Framework before, right? Scaled Agile Framework incorporates DevOps right into the middle of it. and you're going to see that more and more. Disciplined Agile delivery, yet another large-scale enterprise Agile framework. They also incorporate DevOps right into the middle of this thing. Because DevOps and Agile really need to work together. In enterprise scale, you will have so many errors, so many problems, so many conflicts in your code and different things if you don't have Agile and DevOps working together. You've got to have this. Okay? So DevOps has a huge trend going to pretty much every enterprise Agile approach you're going to find. All right. This is the Puppet State of DevOps survey, Puppet Labs, right? So security is really the big trend that they found this year, right? DevSecOps or DevOps or whatever you want to call it. Incorporating security into your DevOps. You want to have it in there, it needs to be incorporated, it needs to be a part of it, and it's not something separate, right? And a lot of security people I've worked with, they like this actually. They like not coming at the last minute and being the bed heavy, but actually being part of the the whole process and incorporated, and even automating a lot of the security and different checks and scans and things like that. Okay, so that's what this survey is showing us. All right, so I'm about wrapped up. This is a book that I've written on DevOps, Agile Distributed Teams. You can find that on Amazon. Guide to Distributed Agile Framework, ebook. And these are a couple of meetups that we run here and we help facilitate. So one here in Singapore is a business agility meetup. You can look these up on meetup.com. And we have these usually every 6 to 8 weeks. So there's one coming up next week if you're interested in business agility. If you're interested in scaled Agile and scaled Agile framework and enterprise Agile scaling, you can check out the Scaled Agile Framework meetup. That one we have every month, once a month. So come out, those are free. Check them out, enjoy them, learn. There's a community out here and get to be a part of that. Okay? We have a couple of classes that are coming up in the Scaled Agile area. If you're interested in joining for those, I am teaching those along with some of my team. And we have the Meeting Safe, which is the introduction to the Scaled Agile Framework. This one is coming up October 30th. You can find these on Eventbrite for registration here in Singapore. And we also have Safe for Architects, which is an advanced course for architects who want to know how they incorporate into an enterprise Agile environment. So that one will be coming up on November 26th. Please do check those out on Eventbrite if you're interested in coming to those. And we also have a couple of DevOps classes coming up as well. And a couple of DevOps classes, you'll also find those on Eventbrite. So this one is actually past that, but we have one on December 10th. So those are coming up. There is a discount for and subsidy for Singapore citizens and PRs. So anybody's interested in those, you can talk to me or talk to my team who's here, and we can tell you how you can get the subsidy for those. Again, you can find it on Eventbrite. If you want to get the subsidy, let us know. We can get the reimbursement from Singapore. Okay, so those are all classes that are coming up. This is my contact information, so please feel free to reach out and contact me. Of course, we are an Accenture company now, and if you have any questions, or I guess now, feel free to ask. Oh wait, I don't know how much time I have left. Time's up. Time. All right. Never mind.